In this video, we're going to talk about using multiple operators in an arithmetic expression. So up until now, all of the examples that we've looked at, they've only had just a single operator in there. It was just all plus or all times or just minus or division, divide. But here we're going to talk about expressions that use more than one operator. And so whenever you have that, there's some rules that tell you how to evaluate those expressions or figure out what they boil down to. And in math class, those would be called the order of operation. In Java or computer programming, they would probably be called the rules of precedence. And so they are exactly the same rules as that you would use in algebra class. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? That says evaluate things in parentheses first, and then exponents, then multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. Okay, so those they're exactly the same in Java, pretty much. For right now, we just need to look at the operator precedence table for the arithmetic operators. Right here, things that are in the list on the higher level get to go before things that are in a lower level here. So for our list right now just consists of multiplication, division, and remainder. They all go before addition and subtraction. If two operators are in an expression are on the same level, then they're going to get done in order from left to right. Just like in algebra class, if you want some operations to go first that are at a lower level, you can change that by putting parentheses around that operation, and that will be performed before the higher precedence ones. Okay, so we're going to look at some examples. Before we do that, I want to show you where you can find the complete table for operator precedence in our course. That's under Java API and then Java operators. You can see there's a pretty big table, right, of operators, and we are now just right here looking at this little portion of the table, and later on in the course we'll talk about more of these things here. Not every single one of these things, but most of them we will talk about. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. All right, so in the first example here, we have an expression, an arithmetic expression with multiple operators. And so what's going to get done here, how you would look at that is you would start and go through this expression, and you would scan through going from left to right, looking for any multiplication, division, and remainder, right? So as I scan through here, I can see that the first one of those, multiplication, division, or remainder that I run into is this one right here. So I would multiply those two. 5 times 3 is 15, and then 15 plus 7 would be 22. So on the first one, when I run that, I should get 22, and that's what I get. Okay, in the next expression, when I run through here, I have parentheses, right? So I need to go in there and then follow the rules inside those parentheses. Well, there's really nothing to do inside the parentheses other than just add those two things. It's just that's all there is in there, right? So 7 plus 5 would be 12, and then 12 times 3 would be 36. So that's why we get the 36 here. Okay, so notice that these two are exactly the same, except that this has parentheses here, and that changes the order of operations. All right, next example I have is 7 plus 5 divided by 3. Again, what I'm going to do is go through this and scan through from left to right, looking for any multiplication, division, or remainder operators that I come across. And so when I do that, right, I come across this one first, 5 divided by 3. So here you have to look, is this integer division or is it floating point division? In this case, it's integer division, and I can tell that because there's no point O on either of these two things. Okay, so 5 divided by 3 will be 1 point something, right? But because this is integer division, it's just going to chop the decimal places off. So 5 divided by 3 is going to come out to be 1. And then 1 plus 7 will be 8. So that's the 8 I get there. All right, next up is this example here. And 7 remainder 5 plus 3. So once again, I am going to scan through this from left to right, looking for any multiplication, division, or remainder operators. And I'm going to do those as I come across them. So as I'm scanning through, here I find this remainder operator, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So 7 remainder 5 is 2, right? Because 5 goes into 7 one time without going over. And 5 times 1 is 5. That leaves you with 2 left over. So that would be 2 plus 3, which comes out to be 5. Okay. So that's how the order of operations works. It's very similar to what it is in algebra class. There is one difference that, if you notice, I hadn't really talked about the exponentiation operator, and that's because there's not one in Java. There's something else that you have to use for raising things to a power, and I'll show you what that is in a later video.